Hey, hi, folks. How's it going? I was in freeze frame for just a moment there. Appreciate it. However, it is the off night tonight, so I just have a few things. I've been watching nonstop West Wing for the last week, and sort of trying to put a fictional note on what's been happening with the national survey, and I have to come up to one basic question: Jeb Bartlett, not so good a president. I have to kind of go along a couple of things that he did that although he is a very nice, well-spoken man, I don't think Jeb Bartlett was actually the best choice for president. We'll get into that later on, but I just got to let you know, I have been touring the city, driving around with Uber and lately, and I've come up with another conclusion. Uber is a way to get in touch with people. I had a very interesting person in the back of the car the other day, and she was a wonderful person. She was like, she kept going on the end. Hi, how you doing? Oh yeah, I really like to do hunting. I shot 3 deers this year. I said, really? 3 deers? Yeah, yep. I had to dress them down myself. I was out there in the field. It was a lot of work. I was just working so hard to get it all done. You have to take the skin off. You have to take the guts out. You have to take the head off. And, I thought, well, Jeffrey Dahmer had a lot to do by himself. And I thought, oh, okay, is this your house? Yep, that's the one. All right, I'll see you later. Do you want some deer meat? No, I don't know any deer meat. Thank you. So with that in mind, here's Mark Sweetman.
Okay, thank you very much. That was that was different. That's for sure.
Should I try a little something?
Yeah, yeah. We tried things. I still like the idea of maybe pre-recording that, but let me get us both up.
Yeah, I get you. I'm trying.
Yeah, there we go. There's Andy. There's Andy, my sidekick. We missed you last night.
Who was there? How was it? How did it go?
It was a very light attendance. We had. I'll tell you. We had so few performers. I can tell you who they were. Greg Brown and Angela. Julian. We had Jake Mattis, Wesley Partridge.
Oh, cool.
And me.
Wow. So did you do the full length headlining?
We all did. We all did about 10 to 12 minutes. Give it a whole hour. Tim tried. Tim tried.
Tim was an essayist. That's right. He's an essayist.
Exactly. Oh, no, this is interesting. This is not for sure, but we talked last night about doing, giving a couple of weeks, it's still under the Unclub umbrella, but doing 1 week a month of storytelling.
Oh, okay.
And 1 week a month, maybe 2 of improv.
Ah, I see. Expanding out the comedy novella.
It would still, yeah. It's just that improv would be great because then it wouldn't be we wouldn't have Ode to the Vagina, I Long to Eat. We wouldn't have that every week. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That is a running thing. I wish he could come up with something new, but I'm afraid what he'd come up with. Anyway.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. But yeah, I mean, improv is set up for this type of short, very interesting shows. It's
well, I'm
honestly go ahead. And honestly, like the Planet Ant has also expanded into doing not only storytelling but stand-up and also improvisation. So it's we wouldn't be as ambitious as Planet Ant. They're actually a business. They're trying to. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. They've been selling tickets. They've been selling tickets for over 20 years. I think they know what they're doing. So we're not going to try to compete with them.
Well, what the heck? I saw them at the beginning, and they were just pretty much a couple of guys with an idea. That was it. They're also, a lot of
one of them was Keegan Michael Key, though.
I know. Well, a lot of beer went back and forth between those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah. A lot of discussion, a lot of stuff went on. So. I don't
know. I think the best. I think what the improv troupe would do for us is get that junk cleaned out to the left side of the stage there.
Yeah.
All the cords. music stands and the wiring and stuff like that. Did I just turn you off?
Oh, yeah. They need a larger space to perform in. Like
yes, and that would help. That would help clean that out. I'd really like. I thought Tim knew a little bit more about sound than he did about last night, or maybe he just didn't want to do anything. But because he was asking me, and I said, Tim, when you're not here, I go to all the mics that are plugged in and do a test 1, 2, 3, and pick the one that sounds the best. I don't go through a lot of analysis of what we got there. So.
Yeah, like you never touch any of those dials on that thing, or you'll be you'll be lost in there for the next year.
And now we started like at 7:45 rather than 7:30 because we really only had me and Angela there at that time. So we waited a few minutes, so we had at least 5. And then so I go back to the bar. I go, well, I'll watch some of the football game, and they don't have the football game on. I said, "Where's the football game?" They go, "Well, the Lions."
The season ended when the Lions. The season ended when the Lions.
That's what I said to him. I said, "So you guys aren't really football fans. You guys are Lions fans."
There you go.
So.
Yeah, it used to end earlier most of the time. It was like ended right at the end of the season. That was it. But we could count on having. It used to be we could count on having January back. Well, the Lions did give us a little bit of January back since they booted the first game. So. Well,
anyway, let's get to
it. They won the first game. They lost the second game.
And Minnesota was actually a regular season scheduled game. It was like a playoff game because they needed it to get that spot.
Got it.
But that still was. They would have played that game whether they were in the playoffs or not.
Got it. Okay. All right.
It was winning that game that gave them the top spot for the playoffs.
I thought they. Okay. All right. I got.
They made it. I know that the national media tried to make it Sunday. They made it Sunday night's feature game, and they tried to make it a big deal because it was a big deal. But they would have played that game whether they made the playoffs or not. So that really wasn't a playoff.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Let's get Susan out here because I know she always likes to get to other things. This is my bride, Susan. On stage, she goes by the name Susan Salisbury. I think here she's Susan Sweetman. We'll ask her when she gets out here. Here's my bride, our off night poet, Susan Sweetman. Hi,
Andy. What a good Uber story. Oh dear, she wanted to tip you $1.
Exactly.
Here's $1 for you. Oh, I didn't.
Thank you.
Dear me,
a whole dollar.
A whole flank chop, a whole flank chop. There we go. Thank you. I get the rear end, huh? That's it. All right. Thank you.
Anyhow.
All right. You got your poem, Susan?
Yeah. We actually have sports news in the poem. You're talking about football and talking about the Lions.
Yeah.
So
while you're reading the poem, I'm going to be looking for Andy. So here's Susan Sweetman and this week's poem.
Okay, everybody. In sports news, the Super Bowl will host Chiefs versus Eagles. And Lions coaching staff poached. Can this even be legal? In South Korea, President Yoon has now been indicted for the insurrection crap that he himself incited. Trump's first business was to sign slew of executive orders, but there were problems galore while he moved into his quarters. Gender at conception cannot be ordered by the prez. Just ask a physician and hear what he or she says. Perhaps Trump should open the Bible he was selling. That guy named Jesus, can you hear what he was telling? See the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 12. Let's see the Messiah's deeper description. Let's delve. For there are eunuchs so born from their mother's womb. And what about hermaphrodites from cradle to tomb? And the 14th Amendment cannot just be denied. If you're born in this country, you do not need to hide. And in Boston, an earthquake has shaken as well. Do you get it? Our country might be going to hell. That's your poem.
All right. Thank you, Susan. All right. Well, let's get Jason out here. Still no Sam yet, but Jason is here. Hi,
Hi
Jason.
guys, how's it
Anyway,
going?
Hi,
Thanks for
Jason.
the poem, Susan.
I wanted to point out, because Susan and I were talking about it earlier. She very adroitly rhymed 12. I thought that was quite a task. Delve and 12. I go,
Well,
yeah.
she had much
I-
luck with Buck, I tell you.
I even mentioned the word 12, and the little box on my ankle starts shocking me. So, I just,
Very funny.
And by the way, Andy, I appreciated your story about the Uber customer in the back seat. And were I to paraphrase it, it might sound like, yeah, I had to cut the head off and all the skin came off, and I can't believe how much work it was. Dahmer sure did have it hard. He was out there.
He was all alone.
He was all alone. Well, he didn't start out alone, but he ended that way. And then we can start referring to our host as Dear Meat Sweeten.
Yeah, but she was quite a lively girl, I tell you.
Mark had a coworker that speaking of Dahmer, which is yuck, but
Yeah, well,
remember that airplane crash in the mountains?
Oh.
Yeah, Mark had a coworker that
Not gonna
heard about the
mention her.
cannibalism, and she was like, I don't even like fish.
That was
What?
that was so funny.
cannibalism.
She was the same employee that we never saw on snow days, because she heard that the schools were called off. If the schools were called off, how could we get to work?
What?
Right.
Why is everyone in the office? It's a snow day.
It's a snow day.
Because
If
we're
the kids
grown
can't
up.
go, why are we here?
That was almost. And now, when I was, I'm another person unnamed, but I had a similar statement by an employee a coworker one time, when they were talking about somebody who's met their fate by falling out of a building, and she said, "Oh, not only did they die, but they both their ankles."
Oh, here's another classic, since you were talking about deer hunting. But you know how there's deer crossing signs at places on roads. And she said they should put that deer crossing at the top of the hill. It would just be so much more convenient.
Yeah, there's less traffic at the top of the hill. Why can't they put the deer crossing up
Have
there?
the deer cross
Then
at the
not
top
so many
of the
deer
hill.
would get hit.
That's classic. All right.
She was a classic. It was now, again, I'm not mentioning names, but I think she kept her job because she had the same last name as one of the owners.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was a what do they call it? Pledges. She was a
nepo baby.
She thought Tim Allen's show was filmed in his actual house.
Oh.
Yes.
Over there in Beverly Hills, Michigan. Yeah.
Her dad lived on East Lady, the same street that Tim Allen lived on when he lived in Michigan, in Birmingham. And she says, I go by there all the time. I never see him there. I go, well, that
She
that
never
show
sees the camera crews.
never sees the camera crew. She never she never sees anybody there. It's like she doesn't know when they film it. I go, they film it at Warner Brothers out in Burbank. Just relax.
Right. So did Tim?
She didn't believe that at all.
What's that?
Take his house as the tempo or the template for the.
You mean like the still photo for the house in Michigan? No, actually, in fact, his house, he had a nicer house in Michigan than he had on Home Improvement on the TV show.
Yeah.
I think on the TV show it looked more like something you'd see in Royal Oak, where they're all kind of jammed together, and there's limited parking and stuff.
The family was supposed to be in Michigan, so there are some big bloopers in that series. Although I love the series, one would be doing their laundry in the garage. That is not something you do in Michigan.
That is not a Michigan thing.
No.
I'm surprised Tim didn't point that out to people.
No. We might cook meth in the garage.
Rewriting the show, yeah.
Well, definitely back then we would have grown weed in the garage if it was the growing season. But no, not laundry. Yeah.
Has anybody seen his new show yet? He's got a new show started on ABC.
Not the newest one, but I liked that one he did a few years ago.
Oh, the sports one?
Where is the sports store? Where he worked for a sporting goods store in that one. Mike Banks.
Yes, I liked that one too.
This character he has, again, he plays conservative, but his wife has just died, and so his adult daughter moves back, and she's been gone long enough that they butt heads now because of their different politics. I think it's a pretty timely show if they can keep it humorous like they have all of his other shows.
He doesn't tell his daughter to stifle, does he?
No.
No.
There's a difference. I said conservative, not bigoted. So. No, Tim does a good job of making sure that Tim does a good job of making sure his shows and his material and everything he does is for a wide audience, which is, if I think all the networks want everything to be a wide audience. They don't. The problem and the reason all the late night talk shows are so anti-Trump is not because they don't want to do that, but Trump it just makes it too easy for them.
Well,
yeah. And that one guy Gutfeld.
Well, it's going to be a good 4 years for comedy. That's for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking with Mark and Sam. If we can get them, healthy again, because you two would be great because there's going to be material for you guys.
Get closer to the mic, man.
Oh, sorry.
He said there's going to be material
for you guys every day.
You do sound like you're talking outside of a cereal box or something.
Well, that's not the first time I've done that. So
that's better.
You're better.
Whatever you did sounds better. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you usually when I have a cereal box, it's because I'm trying to lure a homeless person into the trunk of my car. But yeah,
very good.
I know I'm sort of a one note, sort of like serial killer sort of
comic. One note.
Now,
your whole act is one note.
Looking at the three of you, maybe I should get Mark's Santa beard and wear it because I feel out of place.
Yeah.
I gotta
no one will ever accuse you of being a beard, Susan. I don't think that's something. You should ever have to worry
like
about.
The Smith Brothers cough syrup over here,
That's right. The Smith Brothers and one sister.
And one sister.
Well, I mean, she comes in like the Deus Ex Machina, throwing lightning bolts left, right, and center. You gotta love it. It's. Remember the old Mother Nature commercials? It's not nice to. It's not nice to. Did she say
the fool Mother Nature? Right.
Fool Mother Nature. That's what she said. Yeah.
Not nice to fool with Mother Nature either.
Right, and then she'd there'd be a flash of lightning and a village would be flooded and there'd be a plague and thousands.
Every once in a while, I'll catch a YouTube program or thing that they put out there, and it'll just be a run-on of all those 60s and 70s television commercials.
Yeah.
And my first impression is always, my God, we sat through long commercials.
Oh, remember back when the 1 minute commercial was kind of an average?
Yes, and a minute seems like, this is going on forever. Now when a YouTube commercial break comes up and it's more than 15 seconds, I'm going, 15 seconds? I got to wait 15 seconds for this thing to
and let's not forget, and you were talking about bigoted, how about the ancient Chinese? How do you get these sheets so clean?
Ancient Chinese secret.
That's right.
Wouldn't hear that.
David, you're a genius.
How about ring around the collar? Remember that?
Yeah.
Like you're blaming the woman because the guy's got Sheila Kay. Now Andy will remember. Remember Sheila Kay's line about that? She goes, the Sheila Kay's answer to ring around the collar.
Oh, go ahead.
Because she's where they say ring, and they're singing ring around the collar, ring.
Tell the man to wash his neck.
And she'll go, tell the man to wash his neck.
Well, if Sam pops in, tell him I said hello.
Will do.
You all have a good week.
Will. All right. We'll see you.
So it's the three wise men now. All right.
Yeah, I mean, continuing to expound on those commercials, remember the gross misogyny? I mean, if your husband didn't have enough caffeine in his coffee or too much caffeine, it was always the woman's fault. And the quiet implication was she's also going to have one black eye or maybe two if she doesn't get this shit right. the sooner rather than later.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, it's, oh my, how'd you get the black eye? I fell down the stairs and I didn't get the ring around out of my husband's collar, and
I slipped in the bathroom. That's how. There we go.
oh, God.
I slipped in the bathroom.
Oh, Lord almighty. And of course, I grew up around women who had a different attitude about these sorts of things because they knew how to use guns and were not afraid to do that.
There you go.
You know, one shot. Well, she only shot 2 of her husbands. Well, she shot at all of them, but she hit 2.
She hit 2?
She hit 2.
Your mom?
No. My mom, she had different ways of keeping my father in line. These 2, in fact, I was watching Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf last night, and I was listening to it while I was driving, and I'm thinking, who made this documentary about my parents? And, and only the 2 of them, it was sort of like, I was trying to think, if you tried to my parents would have been like if you'd cast Wink Martindale and Esther Roll in the roles of George and Martha. I mean, it was not quite the Burton and Taylor.
Shall we get the guest? Who's going to get the guest?
Who's going to get the guest? You had to mention the little bugger, didn't you?
Mention the bugger, didn't you? All right. All right. That's the game we're playing. All right. All right.
And you know, and it doesn't get mentioned enough, but you know, Sandy Dennis and George Siegel, who's like what 14 in this movie. I mean, are exceedingly well cast and directed. This is Mike Nichols' first film, and God damn, was it good?
Yeah.
But you know,
Sandy Dennis, I saw her the other day. When I rewatched The Out of Towners.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Sandy Dennis. Yes.
Sandy Dennis was in that. Yeah.
She would be the wife of Jack Lemmon. Had to be what 25 years older than her at that point. I mean, because she was a young woman. I mean, Jack was in what mid 40s.
I suppose.
Of course, he's a good enough actor that he could pull it off. You know, you're not going to spend too much time thinking about it.
You know, 10 years older than it wasn't unusual to be 10 years older than some of the women.
Not then. No, it really wasn't. Nowadays it's a little more unusual. Good again. Who directed The Out of Towners? God, I've forgotten who did again.
Well, we're gonna find out pretty quickly here.
When he starts whistling through his teeth because whatever the Cracker Jack cracks one of his teeth.
Who directed The Out of Towners?
Yes, and
Arthur Hiller.
Oh,
yeah, makes sense.
Wow, great show, yeah.
Yeah, great director.
And he also directed Love Story. Yeah. Oh, did he direct Airport?
Like the first one, I think.
Yeah, but he directed what, Love Story, and what else?
Arthur Hiller. I'm looking up his discography right now, or whatever they call it for. The Way We Were.
Yeah.
Oliver's Story, Summer of '42, Dr. Zhivago.
Oh wow!
Oh no!
Wow.
Wait, hold on. No, he didn't do Dr. Zhivago. Hold on, I've got the wrong list here.
No,
all
that's
right.
Attenborough, isn't it?
Yes. All right, here we go. Oh shit! He just died recently, and he's Canadian. I didn't know that either.
Those Canadians live forever. We got to do something about that. It's
all right.
Well, I guess Donald Trump wants to do something about that. There we go.
Okay, Love Story. Oh, Love Story. Oh, he directed The In-Laws, one of my favorite comedies.
Oh, wow, yes. The best. That was his best. Oh my God. If he left that only film, he would have been totally
In-Laws. Refresh my memory. I must have seen it.
It was Alan Arkin and Peter Falk.
Yes.
Alan Arkin is a dentist. Peter Falk is a CIA agent.
You should try that chicken sandwich when we're here next time, Shelley. It's really good. Serpentine, Shelley.
Well,
I don't know. I just can't take it anymore. Please, for God's sakes, don't leave me behind. That's what I'm saying.
Am I mistaken? But with like Peter Falk in with the John Cassavetes and the Ben Gazzara, that particular
he was part of that.
Late 50s, early 60s. Guys coming out of what Actor Studio?
Yeah, he was part of that.
Who we talking about now?
Peter Falk. I say, wasn't he also in with John Cassavetes and Ben Gazzara? That particular sort of time period when you had these guys who were sort of New York City. I don't know if Tony Franciosa would come in that same sort of. I guess he'd be in the same time period. He was in Facing the Crowd.
Yeah,
where he does a great job.
Okay, Cassavetes and Peter Falk were involved with each other. You know, they did a lot of stuff. And yes, you know, I don't know, but
I still think Cassavetes and Rosemary's Baby was amazing.
You should have seen it when the children were crying, the mosquitoes were carrying off the babies. There's really mosquitoes are carrying off the babies. It was horrible. It was, you know, what do they call that? I don't know. It was, you know, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, what is that? A phone? I have a phone.
Yes.
Oh, I'll be right back.
It was my understanding that Falk could be difficult to work with when he got to the Columbo series.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Cassavetes had his days as well, and in fact, they did do.
He was in Falk. Peter Falk and John Cassavetes were in 4 films together.
There's another guy.
They were in Husbands, A Woman Under the Influence.
Yes.
Mikey and Nikki. That was an Elaine May directed film.
Yeah.
And 1 episode of Columbo back in '72.
Yes, they did. Etude in Black, I think it is.
Yes.
But he also worked with who is that guy? Oh, geez. He's always had this very, you know, look. He did. Oh God. Oh, I should find out who he is.
Cassavetes and Falk both had the ability to sort of like whatever they were in, even if they were just sitting in the scene, somehow or another they could make it about them. Even if they had no lines, they could find a way to
pull it in.
Yeah. The camera would just. Cool Hand Luke is probably one of the best examples of that in a movie, where every single person in that movie just chews up scenery, no matter what they're doing or how they're doing it.
They have everything going on. Yeah.
Yes.
But that movie is an example of what, you know. You don't. There's no such thing as upstaging. There's creating the scene. You know.
Right.
And it's
Peter Falk
try to explain it to people that if they're doing stuff in the background, if you're doing the dialogue, they're basically adding to your show.
Morgan Woodward has not a single word, not a single line. Yet we all remember the man in the glasses. We all remember, you know, his face and his presence in Cool Hand Luke. Again, great actor.
Peter Falk was a chess aficionado and attended high-level chess matches until he became such a celebrity he was too much of a distraction.
Yeah.
And then would stop going to the chess matches. He also, his memoir was titled Just One More Thing. I love that.
Just one more thing. Yes.
Just one more thing.
Have you ever seen the first?
You know, Columbo? I think there's something very interesting about this. Go ahead.
The very first Columbo episode, you can see that he's still figuring out the character, because it's one of the few times where you kind of see him sort of break what we would think of as the Columbo character, and he's kind of he doesn't quite because the first Columbo was shot and the series didn't come till 2 years later.
He doesn't play the absent-minded guy.
No,
he plays like the rough guy, but not the absent-minded.
He's a little more straightforward, and the arch nemesis in that is Ted Cassidy. No, not Jack Cassidy. No, Ted Cassidy's a different guy. Jack Cassidy.
And Peter, I've heard Link and Levinson, I think, were the producers, the guys that created that. Yeah, and they created other shows along the way too.
Right.
But they said that it was that pilot, because Peter Falk wasn't the first guy they had in mind for that.
Right.
And they said that Peter Falk changed the direction of that show completely. After that first pilot, it was sort of like, we know what we're going to do with this now. You know, this is going to be, he's going to be bumbling but genius. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Genial at the same. Probably the best example of that is him and Ruth Gordon in the one show they did together on Columbo, where they play off and there's a scene where they're talking about Ruth Gordon's late daughter, who's sort of the reason why the whole murder got put into action. And again, Ruth Gordon and Peter Falk really do a great bit of dialogue, and it's actually quite good, because you know sometimes the show would go off the rails, or you know it was still a '70s TV show, but you can also tell there are times when you're dealing with two very, very good actors, who, when given great material, know what to do with it and how to present it.
Levinson and Link also created Murder, She Wrote and Mannix.
Oh yeah.
Those
what was
are
the name of the
three long-running
in
shows
Mannix?
that'll put you in a nice house in Beverly Hills. That's for sure.
There you go.
Ben Gazzara. Ben Gazzara.
There you go.
He was the other guy in the John Cassavetes group. So
yes, and that was
I remember that. And Gina Rollins, wasn't Gina Rollins in that?
Gina
group?
Rollins, I think Elaine Stritch. You have to kind of toss her in there.
Yeah.
She just passed away. She just recently passed away. She lived a long life.
Well, her career died years ago. But yes.
Hello.
No.
I'll be here all week.
I'll be here all week.
Oh God. I remember watching Elaine Stritch's one-woman show, and she's saying I had a drinking problem, but I was containing it. I was doing all right. I would limit myself to 3 drinks at a party. That's it, 3 drinks and no more. And then I realized that I'm using a flower vase for my drink, and it's like, and that's when things kind of got a little out of hand, and at any rate, and again, another show from that time, which unfortunately doesn't get remembered at all, was the old remember the Name of the Game, which was another one of those wheel shows.
I love that. Although there's one episode that still is in my head.
Yes,
the Name of the Game. It was one where the guy either has a head in his head, or but he transports himself to the future. Into
the future.
Yeah. And he sees like 1970s senior citizens playing rock and roll. And I said, that was the most frightening thing possible. And now
I think that was Gene Barry, if I'm not mistaken.
And Gene Barry. And now I go down to the live, and that is the nightmare right there.
Yeah, exactly. Now his nightmare has become the reality that we live in.
It's nothing like 65, 75-year-olds rocking away with a paisley on it, the hair down. It's like the bald heads. I mean, I'm there, but I see the irony. I see the irony.
Well, I look into the mirror and see that time's had its way with me, and yet I can still say I'm younger than Keith Richards.
There you go.
And and we all know that there is the expression, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. For every cigarette you smoke, life takes away 3 minutes and gives it to Keith Richards.
There you go. There you go. Keith Richards keeps it all. There you go.
He knows exactly what he's doing with it. Yeah, I mean, we have to think about what world we're going to leave behind for Keith Richards. So
he takes a lot. He takes a lot of heat for. But have you seen the pictures of? I've seen these before too, where they have a bunch of people and what they look like in their high school picture, and then they show Keith Richards, and it's the same picture of him in high school as he is. It's a change.
Just like it's like the portrait of Dorian Gray, but he's just already there. It's like
he's got to be the best example of someone who is so comfortable in his skin, or someone else's for that matter. Well,
I think this could be a testament to not having stress in your life.
Yeah, he's been Keith for 50 years.
He probably hasn't been sober enough.
No, he's pretty these days. He does.
I think they're all sober now.
Yeah,
you don't live into your 80s. Screwing up your liver. You know what I mean?
There you go.
And rumor has it that Mick was actually always a lightweight. He pretended that he was out there doing tons and tons. But you got to remember, Mick Jagger was accepted into the London School of Economics. He's not a stupid man.
Lost you.
Oh, I say he was at the Mick Jagger was accepted into the London School of Economics.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So
weren't the guys from Queen also at some sort of high end academy of some kind?
Brian May is a PhD in astrophysics.
That was it, and then yes. I think a couple of them were they met at school at where they were studying either engineering or science or something.
Well, Pink Floyd were all in Regent Street Polytechnic, which was an architectural school, and they to hear Nick Mason say, I think we made the right decision. Otherwise, we would have designed really dull banks. So,
yeah, just keep your head stiff.
Who are we talking to?
I don't know. Am I fading in and out again?
Yeah, you're kind of going in, out, like you're the Doppler effect, So we're going, that sort of thing,
Yeah, I'm my see my presence isn't great for stage because it's always so, but for screen, I pretty much keep to my spot all the time.
There you go.
I any better?
You know,
Yeah,
next time I get one of these lights, I might, because it's all diffused light.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes care of everything. And I guess I could, if I needed to, more directly point it like stage lighting. But I like this sort of everything fills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind me has same lighting
I look-
behind me, same lighting below me, above me. I mean, my face is kind of red, but oh, that reminds me. I used to have a spot here and a spot here. You guys may have noticed it if you go back and look at some old episodes. But
How did you get rid of your spots?
I went to a dermatologist and he got rid of my spots. But he also discovered I had some basal carcinoma. Anyway, I had some the beginnings of melanoma on my left shoulder. So
Oh wow.
I had a procedure on Thursday. Now, after that, he basically cut into it, froze it. Says when the scab heals, start putting this. He gave me wrote his prescription for this chemotherapy ointment, and so then I use that for a month, and then see him again in July. So hopefully we caught everything. Caught
it early, man.
Yeah, because the problem with skin cancer is skin goes to all parts of your body, and if it's going to spread, it's like the two kinds you don't want are skin cancer and what are those lymph nodes? You don't want it in your lymph nodes because that'll carry it to the rest of your body too.
Got it.
And of course, pancreas cancer, nobody wants that because that's the one that they haven't been able to figure out how to cure yet.
Yeah.
The nice thing about pancreas is you can get a credit card. You don't have to worry about the first bill. You can.
There you go.
I'm just trying. Mr. Happy, I'm just trying to give you some
tips.
Here.
I've my last credit card I got, they gave me a $20,000 spending limit. So I think when I get pancreas cancer, I'll ask for $40,000. Then after I pay a couple bills, I'll say, can I get it up to $80,000?
Right. And there's
go on.
Like the bill, and at the same time, the people are showing up with flowers, and you look good in plush line blue, and it's like, well, what are you going to do about that, pal? None of my business, you know.
Well, how are you going to pay for the funeral anyway? You know, you got to have a credit card somewhere. You know.
That's something we haven't done. I still haven't seen the bubble burst for the funeral industry. Oh. The funeral industry still goes on, and I think the problem is because there are some pre-planning, but the people that do the pre-planning do it with a funeral home.
Well, and no one wants to think about doing the pre-planning. I've told my nephew that I want a Fargo style funeral. I want him to scatter my remains with a tree chipper, preferably during the art fair.
During the art fair?
I like that. I wouldn't mind being shot up in a firework, like on a Fourth of July fireworks.
you like the Hunter S. Thompson thing.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody looks at it and goes, "Oh, that was a dud." Oh, you think?
I do. I favor kind of like the Big Lebowski thing, but it's sort of like I'm also in favor of putting myself into a structure and then having it thrown onto the bottom of the ocean. So it be kind of like a fish habitat. So be nothing but fish being able to look at me down there in the deep waters.
I think what we should. I also think what we should do is when people get ill, and it doesn't have to, have the funeral, have the memorial for them, so that they
while they're alive.
There. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know why we wait till somebody's dead.
Well,
Well,
it would be a little emotional. The guy says, "Hey, thank you. I'm going." I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, then they'll feel guilty for being still alive or something, right?
Yeah. Speaking of the dead, I was thinking it'd be fun to see former President Joe Biden and Dick Cheney doing their version of whatever happened to Baby Jane. With Dick Cheney playing the Betty Davis role and Joe Biden. You wouldn't be doing this to me if I wasn't in this chair, and Dick would be like, "What you are in that chair."
Well, my image is Joe Biden volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, and they're all going, "Oh no, Joe, that's fine. Just,
No, we're good.
just put the hammer down. We're good. Yeah, we're good. We'll save it. We'll tell everybody you built. We'll tell everybody you built a dozen houses, but just put the hammer down, please."
Are we done? Yes, we're done, Joe. Thanks.
We have pudding now.
Pudding. Thank you.
I ate the meat.
You have to really kind of give him a break because, like, the guy, he's probably not going to last out of, what's his name's 4-year thing. So
watch, he'll live to be about 1,000 years old. Everyone else will be dead.
Yeah.
Look at Dick Cheney. They've got him plugged into a wall socket at the bottom.
Well, he's Darth Vader, man. He's got his own heart. His hearts are being resupplied.
He could be bouncing off Mitch McConnell's soul at the bottom of.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to medicate myself from not worrying about Trump by watching, West Wing nonstop, and it's like it could have been like this, but I have to tell you, I don't think Jeb Bartlett was a great president.
Well,
there's so many things that he did. It's like, what? You have a Chinese guy who wants to defect, but you don't bring him in because you're trying to do a negotiation with the Koreans? Hell no. You bring him in.
That was Sorkin trying to do the Clinton presidency without the Clinton little foibles and scandals and whatnot. And what we wouldn't give to trade back to that. How much fun having, really? It was a scream.
Well, what's really fun is watching, like, they're really worried about, somebody who's an adulterer. It's like they're really worried about somebody who lies. It's like they're really worried about this. It's like,
what former associates of yours? Well, didn't one of them just die in prison? Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Go have lunch with Vince Foster.
There we go. Yeah, that's just, but it's interesting watching. It's like, and actually the people that work, I mean, I'm so angry at Andy, the wife of Toby. He's like, what the hell is she? She's such a controlling woman. I mean, it's like he keeps asking her to marry her. She has his babies, but she says no. You're too sad. What? It's like, what are you talking about? You're out of your mind. Oh God, Toby, just take the kids and leave her. Come on.
Well,
unbelievable.
I mean, did you ever see The American President with Annette Bening and Michael?
Oh yeah.
Another Sorkin fantasy film,
Was that a Sorkin film?
Yeah. He's a great writer.
I didn't know that.
Sorkin's a great.
I mean, the writing is great. It's fun.
He's
very humorous and stuff. It's really good.
I was not fond of what he did to Kill a Mockingbird when he decided to change that, but
no.
What are you gonna do?
I didn't watch the remake. I refuse to watch.
Well, when I do my version, it's going to be Tequila Mockingbird.
Tequila. Yeah,
it's going to be
takes place in Mexico. It's
exactly
on the Gulf of America, that sort of place. There we go.
Boo Radley, sort of a nice little.
Boo Radley is vice president. Come on.
Yeah,
we're kind of there now.
Who played Boo Radley in the movie? You a very young
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Did you see that there's a I saw on Facebook, I saw somebody took a map of Mexico, circled the Gulf of California, which is between the mainland and Baja Peninsula, and it said, "All right, everybody, you know what to do."
Yeah. I was thinking about moving to Canada, but if they're just going to make a state out of it, what's the use? I mean, like, it's no more free, no more.
You can't just make something a state. I mean, we're not in the 1800s anymore. We don't have.
Somebody should tell him. I mean, Greenland. Did you hear the response from Greenland?
We didn't do it in the 1800s. I mean, remember 54.
Britain did. Britain did it in the 1800s. Britain would sail in and take over.
War with Great Britain over the Oregon Territory before we finally figured out a way to.
Did you hear what the Greenland guy said? Like the Greenland prime minister or whatever?
What?
He said basically, Greenland's been a part of the Denmark for the last 800 years.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you in one perspective, we don't want to belong to the United States. And I want to tell you in your own words.
During World War II,
my new hero.
part of the United States.
It was pretty interesting. I saw it on Colbert. They showed it on Colbert.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I don't.
Well,
think
I've been watching a lot of CBC, and there's Andrew Cheng, I think is the guy's name. He's a commentator for CBC.
Okay.
And he does some great, and I mean, they allow him, because it's not American television where you have to throw 8 minutes of commercials in for every 6 minutes of programming. But he does a lot of great analysis, and he said these are and he gave like 4 or 5 reasons why Trump would want Greenland.
Namely,
and it wasn't shouting, it wasn't accusing,
and all sorts of.
Well, it's basically the reason that he gave Trump the most credit for, in other words, the one that the Canadians would agree with, is the Chinese want the resources on Greenland, and so it's not even if we can get it; it's keeping the Chinese from exporting it. The Chinese have already beaten us in Africa, because we wrote Africa off as a sort of a dark continent that's has no value.
Well, they're beating us in Africa and in South America, and they're buying up resources all around us. So,
well, India's figuring it out now, and India's trying to use some of the capital they've gained from the import-export inequality they have now, because they're getting more money in and exporting more than they're importing. So.
Yeah, well, I'll quote something from The Sopranos. You don't want to owe money to the mob. So it's like, you can buy up all you want, but if you think you're gonna cut the mob out, you're out of your mind. So,
well,
they may be.
So who's the mob? Who's the mob? So who's the mob in world politics?
I'm gonna say it's the United States.
No.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that is, we have the biggest guns right now. China's trying to raise as many guns as possible, but through diplomatics, as long as they allow the resources to go elsewhere, you can't buy priority, because that's what the Chinese are trying to do. They're trying to buy everything up so nobody else can have it. They're trying to use our laws against us.
All they have to do, they're going to get to a point where they're going to be able to stop buying our treasury bills. Once they stop buying our treasury bills, who's going to buy them?
Yeah. So it's an interesting world.
We'll give you all this money to make our shit cheap, so that we don't have to pay our workers to make it, because you'll do it for that. And once you have all that money, come back here and buy our treasury bills.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
And once they stop buying the treasury bills, what are we going to do?
As I have mentioned, Mark, and
that's what I'm saying.
You guys are both around my age.
If you owe the money to the mob, they're going to come. So,
are you home, Sam? Are you home,
Sam?
Sam? Turn the TV off. It looks like
Sam.
He shaved. He must be home. He shaved. He must be home.
Is this a proof of life video?
I don't know. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, he shaved his beard off.
Can't hear anybody. Sorry.
Who's your?
Oh, we got you now.
Oh, all right. Who's your visitor? We can't hear Sam, but we can hear whatever else is in his room.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Somewhere.
Are they using the phone or the iPad? I wonder.
Now, and getting back to the Bartletts.
Let's use this opportunity to talk shit about Sam while he's here. He can't say anything.
I can't hear you.
There you go. We can hear you.
Can hear you. Must have been too loud at the ball game.
Here's my guess. He's probably using a device he hasn't used before. That's my guess.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Not if you can.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
I had dizzy spells. I passed out. So that's why I'm late.
Oh, okay.
And fuck Philadelphia.
There we go. It's like, all right.
When I do this, I get fireworks behind me. How does that? I never knew I had that. It's very bizarre.
Can't hear a word. You could be calling me everything, and I accept it with love.
We are. That's what we're doing right now.
Yes, I'm clean shaven.
We've been pitting all on you. It's all your fault.
I had to.
What?
All right. Anyway, we're talking about. We can't hear us, so we can't even tell them what we're talking about.
Oh
We're
dear.
talking about don't owe money to the mob, and in
No.
geopolitics, the U.S. is the mob.
How did you do the fireworks, Mark?
I went like this, and I shook my head up and down, and I got fireworks.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? And I don't know how I did that. I wasn't told that I have any other features on my program.
Word, cannot hear the words.
Let me see what you know what, I'm going to have to Google StreamYard when I get off, because it's nothing that's ever happened to me before.
Boy, awesome.
And Sam's gone.
no.
Sam's
probably-
out.
I'm sure he'll call me and tell me what's going on.
Sam's night nurse has grabbed him and
Night nurse.
Night nurse.
yeah.
Ooh, oh yes.
I remember the.
Hello, nurse. Okay, there we go. There we go.
I rented a film called Night Nurse once, but
He keeps talking.
we're trying to.
Oh, there he is. Can you hear us? Can you hear us now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, this time you can
Yes.
hear us. All right, there we go.
I'm sorry
let's
I was late,
see.
but I had dizzy spells and I just almost passed out. So
Oh,
I
okay.
understand.
Tequila this late in the day was a bad idea.
Yeah.
say again.
You could,
I said
he
tequila
said
today was a bad idea.
he said tequila this time of day was a bad idea.
I heard bad idea, and that's all I heard.
Oh,
That's
dear.
enough.
Say one more time, please.
I was about to say tequila this late in the day.
Something-
Bad.
Tequila.
I can't get enough of it. Last time,
That's all right.
Tequila. Tequila. Tequila.
Oh my God.
I didn't get any graphic when I did Pee Wee Herman. I don't know.
There we go. There we go.
That seems like the obvious. That seems like the obvious thing to get a graphic for.
Tequila.
well, you know,
Any deaths this week? We should have deaths in the news as a part of our feature.
right?
We're all
Three
old
men who were
people.
shot in the back of the head.
Oh yeah.
You know that joke,
What's-
right? 3 men who were shot in the back of the head.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, give it to us.
Abe Lincoln, JFK, and the guy sitting in front of Pee Wee Herman.
Ah!
Oh. Ow.
Oh dear.
Brrr. Okay.
I never understood why he was arrested. You know, he came twice in 10 minutes. There's a medal for that in my neighborhood.
Well, when you're
Twice
14,
in
easy,
10
but
Are you kidding? Salud, brother. Salud.
at our age, that would almost require the paddles of life and and a towel. And I mean,
Freedom. Are you kidding?
Speak for yourself, buddy. Okay.
I mean,
I can shoot 3 times in 1
The Medal
minute.
of Freedom. Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan. What?
Sam just froze up on my screen. I don't know about you.
Hey.
He looks like he's drooling. Okay. All right.
I wish I
Sam?
was drooling. It would mean I
Yeah.
have some
Oh,
life
you can hear
form.
us. You can.
Yes.
Oh, you can hear. All right, you can hear us.
perhaps we'll have to send him over the entire Blu-ray collection of Vanessa Del Rio and her entire ooh.
Oh my God, my goddess.
Vanessa Del Rio.
Do any of you know the?
You guys.
Any
you
of you
guys-
know
you
the
guys-
Latina?
Listen, before we go any further, you guys got to stop mentioning 1970s porno stars because I had to spend time looking these things up. I wasn't a customer back then. I was still a teenager, back then. So
Oh, right. Yeah, you never heard of her. Get out of here. Spare me. You probably have her her bio tattooed on your ass. Who are you kidding? Oh, I was a teenager. I didn't know anything about porn. Are you kidding? Porn is my Hebrew name when I was a teenager. Did you ever hear of the Hispanic porn star Isabella Sarli?
What was the woman's name?
Isabella Sarli.
The last one, Vanessa.
No, no,
No, different.
no.
different one he said.
She was, or her plot was, she couldn't. I thought this was funny. She was a woman who couldn't get enough. Wow, how unique for a porn star.
I forget if it was Rodriguez or
4.5 minutes left in the show. Just letting everybody-
L.I.
Since Sam just got here, we got 4.5
minutes.
Whether it was George Lopez who said something about being the Mexican American princess, the jewelry's fake, but the orgasms are real.
Oh,
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny. I
I
like
think
that.
Yeah.
That is funny.
You know, just that,
You know, somebody said to me, "Are you disappointed about with Philadelphia, with Washington?" I said, "Last year they were 4-13.
Yeah, really.
4-13. This year they were one game away from the Super Bowl. I'm disappointed. They have a quarterback who's going to be there for at least a decade. Are
Yeah.
you kidding? I'm thrilled. I'm not happy they lost, but I'm
And a coach
thrilled.
and a coach who knows how to coach that type of team too.
And then, did you see the headline about Dan Snyder, the former owner?
no.
Oh, about how he hates their success?
He's pissed off about the fact that the team is good now. Well, if you hadn't sucked like a vacuum, then they would have been good then.
You know what? I am very, to me, that makes my day. I'm happy that he's upset about it. I hope it grinds on him for the rest of his life.
Well, what he should have done if he was a mensch was wish the team the best.
Well,
he should be thrilled they're doing okay. You know, I'm sorry it didn't happen during my tenure there, but I'm thrilled they're doing okay. But no, not that petty little Hebe. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, God. Oh,
Whoa.
You heard me. You heard me. Suck down on a pork chop, you son of a bitch.
You know, maybe we should have Sam on the last 5 minutes of every show. Just sort of
And now, with an editorial comment,
we'll just put him on. We'll put him in the background so he can watch the whole show, and then give him the last 5 minutes to just go off on a rant.
I'm Sam Greenfield, and my topic is: you can pick your friends, but you can't choose your Jews.
We have to get a lawyer for that, though.
Oh
we got to engage a lawyer. Does anybody have a lawyer?
Oh my God! Here I got one.
I hope he's Jewish.
Well, I hope so too.
Oh, all right. Here we go. There we go. Now I've got a scrolling title. I already had that one made up, ready to go. Have you seen my
Jew jokes? That's perfect. Oh my God, that's funny. You know, somewhere there's someone going, I don't think that's the right thing to be talking about. Yeah, well, why don't you kiss my Rosenberg defending ass? Okay, how about that?
Here's another one. Here's another one I have set up for Sam. Here you go.
Here's someone else. Here's somebody else.
That's perfect. I'm sorry I wasn't on time, guys, but like I said, I got very dizzy, so I had to sit down.
My favorite joke from Gilbert Gottfried is, you know, we're gonna doing Jews with jokes. That's what we're doing. We're not doing, Caucasians with action, with a anecdotes. We're doing Jews with jokes. Okay.
Well, you know the famous Robin Williams line, right? Where a German interviewer said to him, "How come there aren't any funny people in Germany?" He said, "Well, maybe you killed them all."
You killed them all.
I could just keep flipping these around. I don't have one for. I thought I had one for Jason. Oh, here it is. Here's Jason's rant time.
Jews with anecdotes. We want Jews with jokes.
And here's the one I did for me.
There you go.
Anytime I get stuck, I could put this up. And then Wes Partridge used to join us all the time. And there's
stage for the two of us to do dueling rants sometime.
Here I wrote this before Andy actually did his Santa rant, and this year he had a Santa rant, which was great.
Yes.
It's 9 o'clock, everybody.
Oh
dear.
Yeah, it's time to go. Well, thanks everybody for joining us once again.
Right.
Remember to click the like button. Also subscribe to our YouTube page. It's right there, youtube.com/@theoffnight. Okay. And let me take that banner ad off here. Hold on.
Oh yeah, if you want to ignore the Trump administration, just watch the West Wing nonstop for at least 4 years. There you go.
All right. Anyway, I'm gonna get our outro music here, and we'll bid everybody adieu. I'll chat with you guys a little bit after we go. How come it's not playing? What happened to my music here? Come on.
I don't know, but you did fine. Get the brownie points, dude. There you go.
Here we go. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you again next week. Talk to you guys.